Okay, everybody. I don't know how this is working. I'm back on the air again. Yeah. The only thing I can do at this point, if anybody is monitoring this and picks up on it, send me a message telling me the damn thing is streaming. And let's see. Piece of crap, damn it.
See about tomorrow trying to mop floors.
I don't know why this has got to
I
do
have
this.
a bowl.
Yeah, have a bowl. Here's the glass.
Okay, bring your glass up.
Alright, why are we at? Doot. Now, I don't know what this is down here. That's webcam volume. Since I don't have a webcam. This is lovely. I'm not getting anything out of the headphones. Of course, I don't have the headphones plugged in. Yeah, okay, that's interesting. It turns that part off. And we bring this down. And let's see, where are we now? Where are we now? Where are we now getting? Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you. problem is it's still not, it's telling me I have no audio. Audio testing 1, 2, 3. Audio testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. All right. I'm not able to understand why I'm having Okay, you can hear music or well, no, I got feedback somehow. Or I did. Okay, is the volume normal, low, medium, high? Because I'm getting background now. For whatever reason, it wasn't working before. Oh, very good. Okay, I'm not sure how I'm going to be able to carry forward with this, but I'll give it a shot. Because when I use OBS, I can't see this screen. So bear with me a little bit when I'm switching back and forth. Alright, let me get OBS. Because I'm going to break OBS down to reduction. Alright, put this over here. Well, that's good because I'm getting audio feedback through my headphones, but it's not very loud, so I can't monitor the audio. I've been screwing around with this thing for an hour. So there's a couple things I want to try, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that with this software. I was going to try and play back some live stuff. Alternatively, I can do things a little different right now. I'm just trying to get it. Let me get this out of the way. Now that I finally got this thing working properly, I can get things switched around. And what did I do? This takes me back to my old days of live streaming on the other one. And I used to run into all kinds of strange problems. So I can get this thing to move. Oh, this is weird. Okay. So anyway, I guess while we're screwing around here, as far as we know, Terrible Timmy is still missing, and for whatever that's worth. Well, that's weird. I'm getting latency right through. It's not very loud, but I'm getting latency. But at least this thing is working, which I don't like having it to where I can't hear my audio, but that's something we can live with here. Okay, I'll go back over here, and what I wanted to do is, okay, we're going to drop this down. Because what I'm gonna, I wanted to play the videos of some of these places that I've been to, but I think, and now did the background music come through okay that I was playing? Because that's important to know that I've got that audio. Yeah, if you guys would subscribe to the channel, because this way it'll build things up. Oh, I got a pin for a hearse. That's weird. That's a good question. The problem apparently is the fact that this is a misdemeanor, and it's a nonviolent crime, so the only way he's going to get arrested is if he gets caught on a traffic infraction or something like that. As far as, just going out and banging on somebody's door and arresting them, that's probably not going to happen. I wish it would, but, at this point, they are going to need to know exactly where he's at and then try and get him on a probable cause thing like a routine check or a traffic infraction or something along those lines. Somebody has started a Timothy J. Timothy HOLMSETH Facebook page. and I understand the operator of that particular page is actively working with a few suspected areas to try and get the word out that HOLMSETH, in fact, is a fugitive from justice. I just thought of a way I could do what I want to do here, and I get. Since I'm not on screen, wouldn't be a terribly good thing to do at the moment. Let's see. I've got to find. I've been watching some rather funny YouTubes here lately. Yeah, I understand that he is in Elk River, possibly with a real estate broker. Which is all right. The thing that's interesting about all of this is that he's out there on the run. Unless he is with somebody, he has very little resources. And the second thing that he needs to worry about is people are going to get tired of him. Tim does not have the best reputation as far as how he conducts himself. How can I say it? His hygiene has a lot to be desired and stuff like that. He did get fired allegedly from one job because he didn't take a bath for a week. And I was a janitor of all things. What I'm doing, I'm trying to track down some videos I saw, and I'm having to go through. What I'm having to do, I brought Twitter back up. Twitter's not going to work. Let me get this out of the way. He probably, he's going to have to live like a recluse. I'm surprised, actually, that he hasn't gone public yet, because he's basically screwed himself if he stays offline and goes dark and doesn't say anything, because people are going to lose interest in him. They're going to go away and get into other topics, such as the death of Queen Elizabeth and all this other stuff that QAnon and Field is putting out there on the internet. In order to maintain attention, you've got to be out there day in and day out saying something, and the minute you shut up, people forget about you. Yeah, that was part of it, Jennifer, and he also they got tired of his conspiracy theories. He used to come to work every day with these theories and all the stuff he was going through, and they just got tired of it. And he turned around and sued them and lost, of course, because they tried to argue violation. Yeah, I believe it's either federal or state, because he did a lot of his filings in Minnesota. They got, oh yeah, Pacer's got an encyclopedia on him, and yeah, he's all over the place. And what I did is I put a lot of that stuff on my blog about when I was covering him extensively a few years back, and all the shenanigans that he was getting into. I believe they ruled him. Can't think of the term, but basically, it's when you give out lawsuits frequently, they throw a term at you, and it's more difficult for you to keep filing lawsuits because of it. It's just one of those things where they say, you can't be wasting the court's time with all this nonsense, so you just got to go ahead and you get yourself a lawyer if you're going to go ahead and just one odor too many or something. But that's what I'm saying. He's a hygiene problem, and strange way he conducts himself. So, you get into CDC. Okay, just bear with me. I'm screwing around with the software. Alright, let me do this. I'm going to go back over on Twitter. I'm trying to find a specific... Oops. Somebody put up some juicy videos, and I love the audio of these videos, and I got to try and find them again. And I think if I look at my subscriptions, I can find them. Which was my intention tonight, was to show some of these videos in here, but since this thing is not working like I wanted them, let's see. Alright, and I don't have the chat screen on at the moment, so just this week. Okay, it's not showing up. Yeah, it's gonna. You guys are kind of guinea pigs for my prototype here, because I'm trying to work this out. I haven't streamed in over 5 years, and all the software I used at that time is obsolete, so I'm having to start all over again. And let's see, let me go up here. Alright, somebody put this up. 4 days ago, and it's titled Timothy Holmseth, Turn Yourself In, and this is, I know how I can do this. I want to try and do this to where I can hear it too. Well, let me play it and see if it comes through. Let's do it that way. This is a guy called Montrograph. And right now, Mary Lee, I don't know. He has never won in court. He has had all of his cases dismissed. Alright, I gotta switch this over to a different audio source because it's not very loud. I don't know if you guys can even hear this or not. Let me try this. I gotta get cracking on getting this thing set up properly. I don't like sloppy webcasts. Figures. Okay, let me ask you this. Has Agent 19 got a, maybe I'll find it this way, YouTube? I saw a little bit of that. Okay, we're getting, alright, I've got the audio of it. Holy crap, this thing's 49 minutes long.
I don't know if it surprises any of you, but I saw this coming a year and a half ago. I told Montegraph in Skype, and he agreed that Mr. HOLMSETH was going to find himself in a courtroom very soon. He's violating restraining orders. But I digress. To the individuals who are currently supporting Mr. HOLMSETH and claiming that he is on the side of all that is right and just, I'm going to provide you with a glimpse into the past. I'm going to show you the mind-numbing ineptitude that I personally observed from none other than Timothy Charles HOLMSETH. And this should provide you with some insight into the intellectual ineptitude of many of the people who are supporting him right now. And yes, Abel Danger, I am talking about you. Throughout the course of this presentation, if I have something new to add or updated information, you will see this slide with the current date on it. Let's get started. Hello everyone. You know who this is? Yet you have absolutely no idea. Of course. Timothy HOLMSETH is fake, and so is his fake government operative that he has on the phone, and I'm going to prove it right now.
Hello, QAnon Patriots. If you're watching QAnon videos, you're probably one of the good guys. As you know, my name is Timothy Charles HOLMSETH. I received this telephone call today. Okay, I'm back with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, what'd you say your name? Kevin Flynn?
Yeah, Kevin Flynn. So, I'm making an assumption that the policy is supported because of the harass that you endured over whatever 8 years going on with that. And I basically found your story when I started actually looking into Montegraph. And so you know, he actually ended up finding an account on my wife's social media account, basically not threatening to murder people.
Neither myself nor Montegraph has ever engaged in such behavior. We never have, and we never will. If it's your intention to level such accusations and allegations, you need to be able to provide some sort of proof to substantiate your claims. I would also like to ask you what it is that you're putting up your nose, because you're sniffling, and you're also using a lot of crutch words, and you seem to be having difficulty formulating thoughts.
And so I was somewhat forced to basically forward all of the information that I had gathered about him to the NSA.
About who?
About Montegraph.
To note moving forward, he's stating that he forwarded all the information that he obtained on Montegraph to the NSA, the National Security Agency, which falls under the Department of Defense. That's important moving forward.
Okay.
And so the reason that I started looking into it was because of the standoff at the wildlife refuge in Oregon. And all the videos that he was doing started to make me question him and his actual identity.
So the main issue that this individual had with Montegraph was Montegraph speaking out in opposition of the Oregon standoff. That's important moving forward as well, because this individual claims to be an operative within the United States federal government. Why would an individual who's an operative within the United States federal government support the militia in Oregon? They wouldn't.
So, I accumulated probably 100 pages of information about him. And because it got posted to a
So this individual is claiming to be an operative within the United States federal government. He is also claiming that his issue with Montegraph was that Montegraph was speaking out against the occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in Oregon. And he's claiming that he obtained the assistance of the National Security Agency to go after this individual for speaking out against the occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in Oregon. Is anyone seeing a problem with this? And this continues to compound. The individual claims to be an operative within the United States government, an operative who disagreed with Montegraph speaking out against the occupation of the Malheur National Wildlife Refuge in Oregon, an individual who claims that he obtained the assistance of the NSA in going after this individual, Montegraph, for speaking out against the occupation in Oregon, and is claiming that the National Security Agency assisted him in taking down servers that he believed to be owned and operated by Montegraph.
Now this thing is
And
over
moving
almost
Montegraph's online
45
footprint.
minutes long, so
There's a
if
few
you don't want me
problems, though.
to
Montegraph is
play
still
the whole
uploading
thing, let me
YouTube
know.
videos, and all the sites are still active. Continuing.
Okay. Is that who was making the videos about my kids?
Again, neither myself nor Montegraph engage in such behavior. We never have, and we never will. And if you're going to level such allegations and accusations, you need to be able to provide some sort of documentation, some sort of evidence, some sort of proof. When you make a claim like that against someone, you're expected to be able to prove that this individual has done what you claim they have done. If you're not able to provide the proof, then that makes you a liar who is using your children as human shields in your paranoid, demented online fantasy.
Because that's why I make videos off him. Because I was basically like telling him, I'm going to hunt you down, and I'm going to stop you.
What?
And,
This Montegraph, do you know his real name?
yeah.
What is it?
Dale?
It was proven 3 years ago that Montegraph is not Dale when an individual who was having an issue with Montegraph at the time decided to call Dale on the phone in order to smoke Montegraph out, and it turned out that Dale is actually an elderly female. An operative within the federal government should be able to conduct better research and investigations than this.
But he has like a million names. This guy was born in Croatia.
Yeah.
He's basically I wouldn't say he works for the KGB, but he is basically a demoralization agent. Yeah. Yeah, and I found all the servers, and they've shut 4 of them down so far. They're worldwide.
What agency is shutting him down?
The NSA.
If it's not obvious already, this is where it begins to become painfully obvious. So let's rehash this. The individual claims to be an employee for the federal government or an operative within the federal government who disagree with Montegraph's stance, telling people that the Oregon standoff was wrong and that people should not go there. This individual claims that he obtained the assistance of the NSA to help remove servers that he believed to be owned and operated by Montegraph, and this individual is claiming that Montegraph works for the KGB. The KGB has not existed since 1991. When the Soviet Union collapsed. The KGB doesn't exist anymore, and an operative within the United States federal government would know that. I know that, Montegraph knows that, Roy Potter knows that, and Mr. HOLMSETH should know that. And to add insult to injury, this individual who claims to be a government operative feels that crimes are being committed on these servers that he believes to be owned and operated by Montegraph, and claims to have enlisted the assistance of the NSA, the National Security Agency, to shut these servers down because he believes that there were crimes committed on these servers. The problem with that is that the National Security Agency, the NSA, falls under the Department of Defense. They do not engage in any type of law enforcement activities. The government entity that you would enlist the assistance of would not be the National Security Agency, as they fall under the DoD. It would be the FBI, who fall under the Department of Justice, the DOJ. An individual who operates within the federal government would know that. Once again, I know that, Montegraph knows that, Roy Potter knows that, and Timothy Holmseth should know that.
Okay, I see what you mean.
But General Flynn knows who I am.
Okay.
And Donald Trump definitely knows who I am. Because I actually was able to provide them information proving who the head IT guy of Twitter was, and that he was the one that was actually responsible for hacking the president's Twitter a couple months back and installing malware into his account, so then they could use his Twitter account to try and geolocate him because they were planning on trying to kill him.
Okay, the grandiose delusions have reached a whole new level here. The President of the United States does not care who you are. And the President of the United States does not require your assistance in determining who the head of IT for Twitter is.
I also want a better future for my son.
Yeah, so do I.
But
Yeah.
I really don't want them to live in this world that I've had to live through like the last 20 years. Just like all of this secrecy and all this, bullshit that you knew in the back of your head overnight, just didn't know why it wasn't right.
Wow, that was emotionally riveting. I have a question, though. If you had this groundbreaking information that you just need to get out to the public, why would you choose a YouTube channel that's been active for 10 years and has only been able to muster about 9,000 subscribers and has a host that has a voice that sounds very similar to SpongeBob SquarePants? I think that's a valid question.
I pray for you.
Sure.
Jesus, thank you that me and Timothy have been able to connect. Just thank you that you put us both on these different paths and that you helped us be together with you. Pray that you would just be a banner of protection over both of us, and just pray that you would guide the information that we've collected to the right hearts and minds who are faithful to you. And just pray that, nothing that we've done has been in vain. And just pray that you would just continue to unify our hearts to your will, Lord, and not our own. And just pray that the sacrifice that we've made will pay off in the protection of children going on into the future. And in your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen, my friend. Thank you.
To begin the closing segment, I will state that I am an atheist. I do not believe in God. I do not believe in organized religion. However, this does not mean that I do not believe that you have the right to follow your own religious practices and belief structures. If you are going to choose to follow a religious belief structure, then you need to follow it all the way. If you're going to claim to be a Christian and a follower of God and the Bible, then you need to make sure that you understand the Bible yourself. We just heard this individual praying for Mr. Holmseth. That this individual, if he's going to follow the Bible and he's going to claim to be a true Christian, needs to pay specific attention to the part of his book where it refers to bearing false witness, because it's very important in this specific case. It's very relevant. This individual is claiming to be an operative with the United States federal government. He's claiming that his anger toward Montegraph stems from Montegraph's opposition to the Oregon standoff, and Montegraph turned out to be correct in that case. This individual is also stating that he believes Montegraph owns servers, and he believes that crimes were being committed on these servers, and that he contacted the National Security Agency, which falls under the Department of Defense, to have these servers removed, when the Department of Defense and the NSA do not act in a law enforcement capacity. This individual would have needed to contact the Department of Justice, the Federal Bureau of Investigation specifically. This individual has also claimed that Montegraph works for the KGB, when the KGB has not existed since 1991. Once again, I know these things, Montegraph knows these things, Roy Potter knows these things, and Timothy Holmseth should know these things.
Hello, QAnon Patriots. If you're watching QAnon videos, you're probably one of the good guys. As you know, my name is Timothy Charles Holmseth. I received this telephone call today. Okay, I'm back with you. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, what did you say your name? Kevin Flynn?
Yeah, Kevin Flynn. So,
Notice how Mr. Holmseth pretends that he does not know who Kevin Flynn is. This is going to be very important later. We're going to continue.
so I mean, I commend you greatly. Seriously.
So is Kevin, is kind of a dumb...
Very many people like this.
I mean, this is a stupid question, really, but is Kevin Flynn your real name, or is that just a name you go by?
No, it's a moniker that I have to use because, you know, I'm in the federal government, so...
Again, Mr. Holmseth acts as if he does not know who this man is, or if he's not familiar with this individual. We're going to continue even farther.
Okay, can I pray? Can I pray for you?
Sure.
Jesus, thank you that me and Timothy have been able to connect. Just thank you that you put us both on these different paths and that you've helped us be together with you. Pray that you would just be a banner of protection over both of us, and just pray that you would guide the information that we've collected to the right hearts and minds who are faithful to you. And just pray that, like, nothing that we've done has been in vain. And just pray that you would just continue to unify our hearts to your will, Lord, and not our own. And just pray that the sacrifice that we've made will pay off in the protection of children going on into the future. And in your name, Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen, my friend. Thank you.
Yep. Okay, man. Take care.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
But we can definitely stay in touch through email. If you have any questions, just email.
Okay, I'll do.
Okay, man.
Thank you, sir. Bye-bye.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Mr. Holmseth is presenting this information in such a way as to deliberately mislead his followers into believing that he is not familiar with this individual who goes by Kevin Flynn, and that he is not familiar with a lot of the information that Kevin Flynn is releasing. I'm now going to focus on some of that specific material in and of itself, the accusations made by Kevin Flynn and Timothy Holmseth.
What, do you know if was Bob Minyard involved with murdering John Benet Ramsey?
He could have been there. John Benet Ramsey's murder was an MK Ultra, basically training session.
Yeah, that's
And
what
it
I
went
thought.
wrong.
Yeah.
And she ended up dying. I'm pretty sure that Monograph was probably the one that was tasing her. Whatever.
All right.
But Bob Enyart ran the disinformation campaign to distract everybody's attention from actual real leads. They could store all the evidence. The reason that Bob Enyart is so interested in legal decisions, the way that law enforcement uses DNA evidence.
Yeah.
Because he's so interested in that is because of all the DNA evidence at that scene.
Yeah, I know.
And Monograph's symbol, the hand,
Monograph's what?
Monograph's symbol on his channel is the hand. That hand is mocking people by telling everyone that it was his fingerprint that was on the window that couldn't be connected to anybody.
What you just heard was Timothy Holmseth and his caller attempting to implicate Montegraph in the murder of John Benet Ramsey based on information that they located on the Voice of Dissent blog. I'm going to actually show a clip from Voice of Dissent, the individual who actually published that blog. And we're going to hear him speak a little bit about it in a minute. Before we do, though, I'm going to focus a little bit more on Mr. Holmseth's response to my previous video that I did directed toward him, where I referred to him as fake, and he is fake, and his caller's fake, and I am going to prove it again.
On January 28th, 2018, a man using a YouTube channel called Agent 19 published a response to my 7 Doors Down video regarding the CIA servers. The ominous voice of Agent 19 was accompanied by a creepy photo of the villains from the movie The Matrix. The creepy man introduces himself saying, quote, "Hello everyone, you know who this is, yet you have absolutely no idea," unquote, and proceeds to advise viewers that Timothy Holmseth is fake, and so is Kevin Flynn.
Yes, I did, and yes, you are. Hello everyone, you know who this is, yet you have absolutely no idea. Of course. Timothy Holmseth is fake, and so is his fake government operative that he has on the phone, and I'm going to prove it right now.
Sure. The Timothy Holmseth that was deemed a credible witness by Minneapolis FBI Special Agent A.J. Eilerman, who interviewed me regarding information I obtained about the kidnapping of Haley Cummings, the murder of Kaylee Anthony, and CIA baby sales to the U.S. Embassy by CIA and FBI agents. The Timothy Holmseth that was investigated and received special clearance from the U.S. Department of Agriculture to enter the secure areas of a locked federal facility. The Timothy Holmseth that uses his own photo and provides the actual address of his home and business. Sure, I'm fake.
That's right, Mr. Holmseth. You are fake. And the reason why I don't show my image is because of people just like you. Look at what you're attempting to do to Monograph right now with his image. This is the reason why you don't get to see my face and you don't get to see my name. I maintain the tactical advantage. And since you want to ramble on about your list of accolades and all the things that you want to claim to have done, I think it's important to note that law enforcement did not act on your information in any of those cases. You leave that part out, don't you? Because law enforcement is aware of your lack of credibility. And also, you want to add to that list of accolades that you had a security clearance. Well, let's take a look at this because I have some documents to show as well. Individuals with felony convictions, and yes, Mr. Holmseth, I am talking about you, are not granted security clearance. Your viewers, or many of them, understand that. I understand it, Montegraph understands that, Roy Potter understands that, and you should understand that. And you should expect the people listening to you to understand that. Because if you're going to lie, you should at least make the lie somewhat credible or believable. To state that you had these security clearances while you had these felony convictions is foolhardy at best.
Anyway, there's something you should know about Mr. Creepy Agent 19. I'm going to show you that this man has been obsessed with me and Kevin Flynn since at least December 16, 2016. I say that because on that day, he published a video using a YouTube channel called Agent 5426, which is simply a slight variation of his other YouTube channel called Agent 19. In the video, he accuses me of being Kevin Flynn, but moreover, his focus is squarely on information I sent to the Denver FBI regarding a written confession in a book called Two is Too Young to Die. It was briefly published on Barnes & Noble, but I got a copy of it. It was published by a sick monster that bragged he murdered John Benet Ramsey, bragged that he violently raped little boys and girls, and claimed to have a child in his possession at that time. I also sent that book to then presidential candidate Donald Trump's lawyer and asked that Donald Trump provide that confession to his attorney general if he won the presidency. The creepy Denver Bible Church operative is obsessed with making sure the American public doesn't believe anything Timothy Holmseth says.
Hello everyone. You know who this is, yet you have absolutely no idea. We're going to be discussing Timothy Holmseth, and no, that's not his real name. The Kevin Flynn is not his real name. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at his channel. We can see that this is in fact his channel. And we're going to take a look at some of the material that he is obsessed with. And it's quite disgusting, to be honest with you, but take a look at the topic of the email he allegedly sent to the FBI, and you'll see here, right there, what's being highlighted. Now, many people who are around for the J.B. Smeary hoax already know where this is going, but apparently this investigative reporter, Mr. Holmseth, is not a very good investigative reporter. We are going to educate Mr. Holmseth, but not before we take a close look into his character. Let's get started.
And what is it I've been saying, QAnon patriots? I'm saying that CIA baby sales, JonBenet Ramsey, false flags, ritual child sacrifice, child torture, it's all connected. It's all baked into the cake of the Luciferian shadow government that is about to collapse.
Mr. Holmseth, I know you like to act as though you're the victim here and that you were somehow targeted, but you are the one doing the targeting, and this is very obvious. This video was published on November the 24th of 2016 on the Kevin Flynn account. An email that you allegedly sent to the FBI is being published directly in the description field, and we can take a look through that email. You're claiming that you just met Kevin Flynn a few days ago, when you can clearly see this email posted on a Kevin Flynn video over a year ago. And as we go down through the comment section, we're going to see Monograph's name deliberately mentioned. We're going to see the Kevin Flynn account directly responding to Montegraph. We see Montegraph in the tags. We see 2 is Too Young to Die being featured, not only in this video, but in the video that you just did in response to myself. So you've obviously been involved with this for some time. Mr. Holmseth, is there something you would like to share with us? Would you like to explain why you're acting as though you just met the owner of that account a few days ago, when your email is being published in the description field for that video over a year ago? You attacked Montegraph. You deliberately attacked Montegraph because you thought you'd found a prize in that Voice of Dissent blog, and you failed. And you not only attacked Montegraph, you attacked October Reigns. And we're going to see that right now. There. I'm part of October Reigns. So when you accuse October Reigns of this type of activity, you're not only accusing Montegraph, but you're accusing myself as well. And you state that my original video directed toward you was published on December the 16th of 2016. And for proof, I'm going to play that clip again.
Anyway, there's something you should know about Mr. Creepy Agent 19. I'm going to show you that this man has been obsessed with me and Kevin Flynn since at least December 16, 2016.
I think obsessed is a strong word. You'd have to really care about someone or something to be obsessed. I don't really care about you. I simply am pointing out the fact that you're fake, that you're claiming that you were the victim when my video was posted in response to yours. My video was published on December the 16th of 2016. Your video that was on the Kevin Flynn channel that featured your email and accused myself and Montegraph of those things was published on November the 24th of 2016. I was responding to you. So who is obsessed with who? Who is making accusations? Who is the aggressor, Mr. Holmseth? Who is it that is taking fabricated information and attempting to file false reports and give false information to the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Mr. Holmseth? You claim that they view you as a credible source of information when in all likelihood they're most likely just telling you what you want to hear to get you to shut up. And now that your back is against the wall, you're going to pull out the 222 book again. Well, again, Mr. Holmseth, I am going to share with the public who wrote that book, why he wrote that book, in his own words, in a video uploaded by the man himself. I am also going to show Voice of Dissent speaking about the content of his blog.
A book called 2 is Too Young to Die. It was briefly published on Barnes & Noble, but I got a copy of it. It was published by a sick monster that bragged he murdered JonBenet Ramsey.
I want to talk about the 222 thing. And yes, I did write the book, but I tell you how it started. It wasn't like something I devised to plotted for a year to troll Montegraph with. It was, I ran across these idiots like on a place like 8chan or something.
Now that we've heard from the man who wrote that book who you're blaming Montegraph for, let's hear from Voice of Dissent on the content of his blog.
Anyway, this gentleman has found some of my old material from about a year ago, and it refers to, I guess, Dale, who you guys also know as Monograph.
And of course, now we know where Mr. Holmseth and his caller got the Dale name from.
On YouTube. There was some information that I'd done some research on. It turned out to be incorrect. I've since retracted that information.
And this, Mr. Holmseth, is why you are fake. This is why you're a horrible investigator and you're a horrible journalist. I wouldn't even go so far as to call you a journalist. I would call you more of a half-assed blogger. You don't even bother to properly research material before releasing it. You've known that this was false for well over a year, yet there you are pushing it on your channel again. Other people know what I know, and maybe your followers aren't smart enough to see it, or maybe they just want to follow you and they are entertained by the stupidity. I don't know. I'm not going to judge them. But I am going to say this. There's a reason why I say that you're fake. Because the material that you put out on your channel is fake. You acted as though you had just met Kevin Flynn, when in fact you had interacted with this individual going back at least a year. You stated that myself and Montegraph were somehow targeting you when your video dropped accusing Montegraph and myself of those disgusting activities several weeks before our first response video came to you. Can you explain these things? You have deliberately attacked us. You attacked us in 2016, and you've attacked us again in 2018. There was no material released on you by us in the interim. You attack us, we respond. And if you want people to take you seriously and think that you're credible, you should learn how to do proper research. And you should release credible information. If people are viewing you as being uncredible, that's on you. I'm simply pointing it out. I am pointing out the obvious. If there are flaws in your research, you can't blame me for pointing those flaws out. You should blame yourself for those flaws having existed in the first place.
Hello, QAnon Patriots. If you're watching QAnon videos, you're probably one of the good guys.
Before we go too deeply into the topic, I did want to say that I like the idea of Timothy Holmseth beginning all of his videos like this, pledging his allegiance to QAnon. And the reason why is because later on, when QAnon is determined to be basically nothing more than a Dr. Bill Weld, just in a different execution, it's going to be interesting to see how Mr. Holmseth tries to backpedal away from that.
As you know, my name is Timothy Charles Holmseth, and many of you probably are familiar with my work. If you are, you know that I'm the journalist and FBI witness that captured rogue CIA and FBI operatives on audio discussing their international baby sales and kidnapping operations. I also recently announced that I've been contacted by figures associated with high-level U.S. intelligence, and we are presently developing a lawsuit through a major law firm against the operatives that have terrorized my family for about 9 years. Okay, today here, I am publishing this video because I've discovered something critical that I want to share with you. I have been quietly observing an ex-military, ex-law enforcement fella named Roy Potter, who has a YouTube program called The Potter Expositor. I'm preparing this for patriots who may have any background information on Roy Potter, because if you do, it could very well lead to deep, dark caverns of the shadow government. I'm going to show you why I say that while I red pill you on Roy Potter and show you that this man is a fraud and a Pied Piper attempting to mislead and confuse true American patriots.
Mr. Holmseth, is there a specific reason why you just chose to attack Roy Potter completely unprovoked? This is why people don't like you, Mr. Holmseth. You attack people unprovoked, and then when they respond to you, you claim that they are attacking you. When you have initiated hostilities against this person, you have called Roy Potter out of the blue a fraud on a whim. Now, why would you do that? Probably because Roy Potter is more respected in the community than you are, and probably because Roy Potter is a more respectable person than you are, and you know it, and you view this as a threat to your own dignity and your own standing. Roy Potter is more respected than you are, he's a better investigator than you are, and he's a better person than you are, and you view that as a threat.
Mr. Potter has consistently mentioned and spoke very highly of a shadowy internet figure who calls himself Montegraph. Now, this Montegraph does not use his real name and visually represents himself with photos of the bad guys from the movie The Matrix. He publishes extremely creepy videos where his intro, every intro that he uses, boasts that you don't know who he is.
Mr. HOLMSETH, this is one of the many reasons why your credibility is on the decline. You claim to be an investigative reporter, to be an excellent investigator. You claim to have access to government agencies and operatives within the federal government and the intelligence community, yet you can't seem to tell the difference between a man in his 40s who lives in Kentucky and a man in his 50s who lives in Colorado, who sound and look completely different. It does not take an investigator to come to the conclusion that myself and Montegraph are in fact very different people. Yet you seem to have trouble with this very remedial concept. And you expect us to believe that you know what's going on behind the scenes in our government? And that the information that you provide is somehow credible in any way? You can't even determine the fact that myself and Montegraph are different people, much less who we are, where we are, or what we represent. And in this next clip, we will see yet another example of Mr. HOLMSETH's gross investigative ineptitudes.
Yesterday, Roy Potter published a video called Bushwhacked. Now, I tried to download the video so I could use a clip of it to show you something, and I received a notice I've never received before, which said that it failed, it's protected, that can't be downloaded. Because any other video I've ever downloaded downloads.
You're looking at a screen cap taken from my desktop just now. Highlighted in the upper right hand corner, you'll see the video entitled Bushwhacked, originally uploaded by Roy Potter. But for these purposes, I simply want to point out the fact that Timothy HOLMSETH was not able to execute the remedial task of downloading a YouTube video, where I was. Does that mean that I am a better investigator and that I am more skilled than Timothy HOLMSETH? Absolutely. Does that mean that Timothy HOLMSETH doesn't know what he's doing? Absolutely.
Interesting. Now, before I get to what I'm really going to get to, I'm going to show you some of the comments under that video by just the average person out there, average patriots. Here's one. Roy, I'm done following you. You have changed a lot in the past few months, and not in a good way. Also, because of you, an elder lady who has a YouTube channel is being harassed by Montegraph. Yeah, your good old friend Monty.
In the interest of clarity, I will state that the elderly woman Mr. HOLMSETH was referring to is none other than Denise Mateau out of Corpus Christi, Texas. Just to give you some basic background on Miss Mateau, she's basically psychotic. She accuses random people online of being responsible for her daughter's death. Her daughter actually committed suicide, but she accuses random people of murdering her. She also accuses random people of being part of a satanic death cult operated by Hillary Clinton. So there's that.
What kind of